Welcome to Your Choice and Your Freedom with Ron Green. Experience Texas opinions from a man who's sick of PC arguing and is ready to get solutions for real issues facing Americans.
Hi, this is Ron. Welcome to the show. And on my left, of course, appropriately, we have Andrew. And on my right, we have Anna, who is well, I'll let her say it. She says it
I'm
best.
a deplorable legal immigrant.
You can't do it any better than that. At least I couldn't. And today we are going to be raking the news media over the coals. Fake news is the topic today. I want to throw out a definition right at the beginning here. Spin equals propaganda, which equals lies. So when I was a kid and wanted to get into a fight, I wasn't allowed to throw the first punch, but I could defend myself. So I would egg the guy on that I wanted to get in a fight with, so he would throw the first punch and then I could beat him up. Mm-hmm. Now then, when I told the story, of course, I put my spin on it, which I put my propaganda on it, which in fact made the truth at best very watered down. It was more of a lie than it was the truth. And this is what we get in the news media these days. Not even just these days. You can go all the way back to Ben Franklin. And when he first started writing, he wrote under a I can't say that word, but he had a pen name. It was a lady's name, whatever. I don't remember what it was. You can Google it. And then he did the Penny Almanac, I believe, after that. You can go back to Wounded Knee, okay, that massacre at Wounded Knee, which is probably in the weeds for a lot of you young guys. That's where, the United States cavalry shot all these unarmed Indians because supposedly they were savages getting ready to go on the warpath. Well, what they were actually doing was a peaceful spiritual dance, but there's the East and West Coast can't sell papers. They can't sell papers. So what they need is a war dance. And they get everybody all worked up, and they're calling their congressman and raising heck. So the next thing you know, the president's going, okay, we got to do something about these savages. And the solution was to shoot them. Fake news. Fake news cost those people their lives. That's a fact.
Yeah.
You can Google it. Look it up.
Yep.
So fake news today is nothing new. It's been going on since the dawn of time. When I started my first civics class, back when Noah was a baby, my teacher, we didn't have to take any tests, but we had to read the Fort Worth Star-Telegram headline story every single day and write a paragraph on it. And then on Friday, we had to pick out the one we liked best and do a page on it. And when I first started that, my dad told me, he said, there's a reason why they call it a news story. The key word being story. So that's where we're at. So what do you think?
I think that the main problem here is that they're calling it fake news, and that's why mainstream media is so offended. They're attacking us because we are saying the truth. I think the right thing to say is that they're giving opinions with intentions instead of stories or fake news. They go ahead, grab a story, and they give their opinion about it, because if you really read every article that is coming out there about Trump's policies or anything that is going on, everything says might not work, will be bad, could be bad, but nothing is actually an actual fact in most of the articles and interviews that you see right now. And the biggest danger that I see with this kind of media is that, I took a trip like 2 years ago to the Museum of the Holocaust in Dallas, and I saw there how did they manage propaganda to convince the entire German population that it was okay to mass murder Jews. And everybody thought it was okay because they were convinced of it. And that is actually the main reason why today we can really realize how come did they let that happen? Well, because they believed it was okay. Like I believe here in about 20 years, we're going to see videos and documentaries about abortion, thinking, how did they let that happen? You know, humans destroying other humans because of somebody's convenience. And that's all of that thanks to the media just following an agenda. And the only reason they are doing all of these bad things is because of the people they are trying to help, right? It's not because it's actually what they believe.
They're not trying to help anybody but themselves.
Who is it that they're trying to help?
Themselves.
That
They're
is
the
the
only
answer.
people they're trying
The
to
answer
help.
in themselves.
Let's give Andrew a chance to weigh in here.
Well, okay, what are we defining as fake news? I would like to know what you all believe fake news is so I know what I'm arguing.
Any news story that has anything in it that the news should be two sentences. That's the facts.
Right.
Everything after that
It's opinions.
is opinion or inaccuracy or spin. The favorite word today is spin. We're going to put a spin on it. Well, spin equals propaganda. Propaganda equals a lie. So what they're going to say is we're going to take these two facts, which don't really support our cause, and twist them around to where they make the other guy look bad, or if you're wanting to look good with those points, make yourself look good.
Can you
Let
give
me
me a
answer-
specific example of this? Because this is still just vague ideas.
Okay. No, it's not a vague idea.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Give me an example so I
Let
can
me
look at it.
answer that question, if
Okay,
you don't
go
mind.
ahead. Go ahead.
Fake news is
Yeah.
when you say something that is not true, right? Pay
I'm
attention.
asking you.
Pay attention. Opinions are something else. And the problem is that they're calling it fake news, and that's why you might not agree with the term. I tell you what, everybody talking about the American Health Care Act. It's going to leave uninsured 24 million people. That right there is a fake opinion. Not a fake opinion. It's just a bad opinion. Let me tell you why.
Is it an opinion that
It's
it was
not-
recommended
it's-
that over $20 billion
It's not
every
an
year was
opinion.
recommended, but
It's
instead it
an
appropriates
accurate-
$8 billion
it's a
over
lie.
5 years?
Pay attention.
Is that not a fact?
It's a
Is that
lie.
an opinion?
It's a lie. It's a
Let me
lie
tell
in
you
the
why.
first place. It's a lie in the first
Is
What do
it-
you think is going to happen to the people with pre-existing conditions, according to liberal media? What do you think is going to happen?
They're going to lose their coverage.
How?
No, they're not.
Let me answer this question. Give me 3 seconds. They will be subsidized by the government, but CNN is not telling you that. I am sorry.
Okay, well, tell me where
It's
I can
what it
find
is.
it. Because
What-
I watch CNN, I watch MSNBC,
In the
I watch Fox, I watch
presentation
CBS,
that
I
Ryan
watch
Paul
NewsHour.
gave,
Oh,
sorry,
oh, oh,
in the
let's-
presentation that Brian Paul gave about the American Health Care Act, watch it.
Okay,
Watch it. He
I will do
explained
that
it
for
step
you.
by step. Sorry.
I will look that up for it.
Okay, look, here's the thing. I don't take anybody's word for it. I don't take your word for it. I don't take her word for it.
Till it happens.
I do not take anybody's word for it. I go back and look for myself. If I cannot get to the original source, I discount it, period. Right now, the main. You want an example of fake news? We can bring that current right now.
Absolutely.
We've got the Donald Trump Russian conspiracy, right? Okay, the news media is out there 24/7 projecting this as if it's actually a crime has been committed and these are actual facts. What they are allegations based on opinions by Democratic senators and stuff like that. You've got every single solitary law enforcement agency in the federal government coming back and saying, we don't have any proof of collusion. We don't have any proof of collusion. Every single campaign has people talking to other counterparts in other countries. The Clinton campaign were talking to the Russians too. So if that's collusion, then let's lock them all up. I'm
But the
for
thing
locking
is-
them all up anyway.
The thing is, it's not so much that they had the meetings. That is concerning, but it's the fact that they've been lying about it so much. No, we
Lying
never did
about-
that. That never happened. And then it comes out that it did, and they go, well, okay, but we didn't think it was important to talk about
Who
it.
cra- who
you had
claimed-
one guy
That's-
tell a lie because
that
he
looks
knew-
suspicious.
Mira,
It
who
looks
claimed
weird.
responsibility of the hack?
I'm sorry?
Julian Assange. He ain't Russian.
When did he claim
He
responsibility
did.
for the...
He claimed it right after it came out.
This
He
is what
said
happens
he-
when you watch CNN.
But we all know that Julian lied, okay, and that the Russians are behind that. That's been proven.
Yes, we know the Russians are behind it. Thank you for agreeing.
What we
with
do not know is whether the Trump campaign had anything to do with it whatsoever. And so for the media to go 24/7 shouting, the Trump campaign was involved. Donald Trump is all a big bad conspiracy to influence our election and make Hillary Clinton look bad, like Donald Trump.
If the Russia,
Why are we talking about Hillary Clinton? She lost the election. She's not in politics. Why are we
She's trying to get back. She's trying to get back. Let me tell you something about Hillary. She came out of the woods a couple of weeks ago. Or less than that.
Yeah, it was like
we
2
are
weeks
trying,
ago.
starting a resistance. La 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 la. Where is she now? She's quiet because James Comey got fired, which is most likely her case is about to get open again. So anyhow, back to the Russians. One last thing about the Russians.
What did you just say?
I'll quote you on that. I want to
okay.
remember this for later on,
Okay,
where I can go
okay.
back and say this never happened.
Okay.
Why?
Because I don't think that you honestly believe they're going to
Okay.
reopen the Clinton investigation. That's
Okay,
what the Comey
we're
firing
not
has
going
to
to
do with
reopen
it.
the Clinton investigation today.
Do you
We're
honestly
talking
believe
about
that?
fake news.
No, I don't know.
Oh, whoa, chill.
It's not
Let's
even
stay
important to
on-
me, you know. She's
Let-
where she needs to be right now, not in the White House.
Get me a bell.
Sorry.
Okay, let's stay. I mean, it's a loose thing, but let's stay basically on topic.
Classic.
Okay.
Mira,
Let's don't get into what a douchebag Hillary Clinton is. That will take many.
Can I say a last thing about the
episodes.
Russian hack?
Okay, real quick.
If the emails showed good stuff, nobody would be complaining about it.
Just like if these meetings that Trump and the Trump affiliates have had with Russians had good stuff, nobody would be complaining
Who
about
cares? I mean, what's the point with why would Russia wants to take over?
Okay, wait a minute. I have something to say here. You know,
it. It is your show.
Well, thank you. What the deal about it is not that they were having conversations. The deal about it is the way it's
You're
being
listening
projected.
to Your Choice and Your Freedom
Pick
with Ron
in
Green.
the next segment.
Now go on and grab a
Okay.
snack and a Dr. Pepper. Ron Green will be right back. And we're back. This is Your Choice, Your Freedom with your host, Ron Green. Finding solutions for America's problems.
Welcome back to the Ron Green Show and our guests Andrew and Anna, and we were having a very energetic discussion in the first segment. We're going to switch gears in this segment and talk about one of my favorite complaining, or like I really say bitching points, is that the mainstream news media is in everybody's mind on both sides of the issue, the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. It has been that way since the Raw Deal. Most of you probably know that as the New Deal, but all of us who can think for ourselves, we really know it's the Raw Deal. So let's talk about that a little bit. And I want to start with Andrew.
All right.
Andrew, do you really believe all that shit?
I don't believe everything that I hear, not everything that I read. There is a point where if you see something and it does seem kind of fishy, it is important to go look up things on your own. But I would argue more that the mainstream media isn't so much another arm of the Democratic Party as
I didn't say arm, I said propaganda arm. Let's be very clear about what they do.
I did not mean to misquote you. They're a propaganda arm. I would say more that they are a propaganda arm to their advertisers. They're going to put whatever on TV gets the most people watching to watch the most commercials, regardless of what that story is.
You know what? I'll give you that the news stories you hear are based on making dollars, which is why we don't get real news. What we get is fake news. Like I said, the news is actually about 2 sentences. Everything that follows that is propaganda. But I disagree with you that they're doing. These people are who they are. They would if they had not been indoctrinated in college. They would no. Whoa. I know what you're thinking. But if they had not been indoctrinated in college, they would be working for Fox News and not the mainstream news media. Now, then there's an argument to be made that the people on Fox News are indoctrinated as well, and you would be correct. But
I just think it's interesting that you separated Fox News from the mainstream news media.
because Fox News,
Agrees with you.
no.
Okay.
Fox News does. Hannity, are you kidding me? I wouldn't let Hannity MC
See,
a baseball
Megan
game.
So Kelly back in the
you
day.
don't lean more like if you
Hey,
if someone said, "Hey, you got to watch
you know
an
what I
hour of
lean,
news."
You know what I lean for? I want the real, honest to God facts, and I'll decide what's truth. Okay, people are inclined to believe what they want to believe, but
Yeah.
if the bank shows up with a warrant to repo your truck, that's a fact. They're coming to get your truck.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the truth. All right, all this stuff, like I said, the you can't sell advertising with the cold hard facts of a story or a news event. You can't sell advertising with just saying 3 people were fatally killed in a car wreck on 35 yesterday morning at 2 a.m.
I'll agree with you. That's stuff like that's not news. That's
Well,
That's
they're not going to sell.
propaganda.
So they
Yeah.
need to gin up a story. And if they're going to gin up a story, they're going to gin up a story that represents their. If it's a political story that represents their political opinions and beliefs.
Well, do you think it would help if the Fairness in Broadcasting Act was reinstated?
No.
I mean, that prevented commercials from being aired while the news was on.
Right. What I think they should do is the way they do it in England, in which
Okay.
it's a
That
public
wouldn't
service. It's a public service, and the girls go topless. So, I'm all for that.
But some people that makes them
then
makes them
I
nervous when they
wouldn't
think
care
about
so much
state-run
whether they were
media.
telling me the truth or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that makes some people concerned about state-run media. I mean, because then you got like places like Russia with RT.
Oh, please. We got state-run media now.
I'm unfamiliar with it. Like,
Yeah, ABC, NBC, CBS, 60 Minutes, yada yada yada. They're all
Oh,
in
I
collusion.
get what
They're
you're
all in
saying.
collusion.
it's
They're-
all this grand
yeah,
conspiracy.
It's not a
that
grand
they're-
conspiracy. It's just the way it is. The people in charge of the news divisions there think the same way, so they coordinate with each other. Hey, we're going to do this story. How do you want me to spin this? We got an example of that through the leaked emails. They are the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. Fox News is the propaganda arm of the Republican Party. Once you can process that, then you can start looking at, okay, what are the realities and how am I going to live my life in the all I want is the truth, and I'll figure it out.
How do you feel about PBS?
PBS,
Yeah.
I don't think that I should be spending my tax dollars to promote a cartoon show that's making billions of dollars. I
But-
don't think I should be spending my tax dollars for news programs that are designed to perpetuate one political party over another political party.
So you believe NPR is
I think we should get leans.
Which I'm asking you. I don't want to know your opinion. Do you think they're left, right?
They're extremely left.
Extremely left.
Juan Williams. Okay, Juan Williams.
Juan Williams.
You know who he is?
What show does he have? I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, he doesn't have a show. He on his own, but he worked. He did have. He did work with NPR, and he did. Like you guys are doing today for Fox News. Well,
Yeah.
right after 2011, he got on an airplane, and he remarked on air that he was uncomfortable with the people who were wearing turbans. Okay, it was a total innocent statement. Hey, I'll admit, I felt uncomfortable. Right after 9/11, a lot of people felt. They fired him. NPR fired him.
Okay. And you think that's because of the differing political beliefs?
Because because of their political position on social behavior, right? In other ways, the way we treat each other et cetera, based on race and culture and religion, sexual orientation. That statement didn't fit their narrative, so you can't work for us. Fox News, on the other hand, you can have your own narrative and you can continue to work for them. Only thing is you got to be careful, make sure some liberal broad doesn't file a sexual harassment case against you, or you're going to get fired whether there's proven or not.
Or maybe just don't
Which
put
I
your
think
hands on
shouldn't
people
be.
that don't want to be
What
touched.
I think
Do you know for a fact he put his hands on them? Nobody knows. It's an allegation.
I think
That's
it was
it.
a wrong move for Fox to
I
take
think
away
it was
O'Reilly.
a bad.
They
you
should
don't
have
fire
waited for
anybody
trial
over
and
that.
results.
Absolutely. Give Bill
And that was
his
going to
day.
give them a lot of ratings because people were going to be on top
Hell
of the whole
yeah.
thing. Now
Yeah.
the case can go away.
Yeah,
O'Reilly's
yeah,
away.
They're a bunch of chicken
One more
shits.
step ahead of the game for the Democratic Party. Hello.
Okay, so. Okay. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, believe it or not. But we can continue on. Okay, so you don't think the mainstream news media is the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party?
I will not deny that there are left-leaning news organizations, but to put all news in one category and say it's mainstream media, except for one, and it's Fox News, and we'll admit that they have their own bias, but they're in their own special little group, and every other news organization fits in this one.
MSNBC is not mainstream news.
No, they're
media.
I'll
That's
give you they're
cable.
left.
They're cable. Well, not only that, but they're cable news. Fox is the same thing.
CNN is cable news too.
CNN is cable
So-
news too.
so mainstream media-
Mainstream news.
See, this is the
ABC,
problem. We haven't
CBS,
defined what mainstream
NBC.
media is.
Well, that's my position is the mainstream news media, because ever since I was a kid, they have been on the left.
But you can see where I get confused because you were teasing me about CNN not like 5 minutes ago, but
Yeah.
now you're saying CNN doesn't count because it's cable.
Well, it's cable, but I mean, Wolf Blitzer, really?
Oh, that guy.
That guy's a total.
Don't think that these people stand up like represent all liberals and progressives and Democrats
they're
and
putting
like
out-
left
Look,
leanings.
we are generalizing. That's the thing that the left's been doing a lot. Like, don't say that every Muslim is a radical. Don't say that every immigrant. We are not saying every. We are generalizing the bad ones or the good ones, because not everybody has HIV,
we
but
can-
doctors wear gloves when they treat you. You know?
There isn't enough time in the show to say this is a good guy, this is a bad guy. But you get the overall effect of their output, the station's output, based on the overall content that comes out from the station. Now, I'm not saying that every single. Now, Rachel Maddow. Now, that little girl has the best comedy show on TV ever. If you want a good laugh, tune in this broad. I ain't kidding you. This broad is, I don't know what she's doing, but it ain't news. But anyway.
Well, no, my opinion on the whole thing is that news, instead of saying what is happening, are saying what might happen, and in a
They're not-
pessimistic tone.
Go ahead.
Did you see today's story about the 18 undisclosed meetings that the Trump campaign had with Russia? Did that not happen, or is that something they think will happen?
I'm not worried about it.
Okay,
That wasn't my question. I asked, is it a real thing that happened?
No, this is interesting.
worry about it.
I want to get down to this.
Okay.
18 undisclosed meetings the Trump campaign had with Russia. Okay, what's your source?
New York Times.
You're
You
kidding.
laugh.
We need
You're
special
kidding,
effects here.
right?
You laugh.
You're kidding, right?
Just because you don't like it doesn't
No,
mean it's
no,
false.
no.
And that's you can't just do. I don't like it. So it's false. I
No,
don't like
I'm not
mayonnaise.
just
That doesn't mean
What are
mayonnaise
you-
doesn't
okay,
exist.
What worries?
What you have now is an allegation. What's their source? So, see, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, the New York Times put it out. That's a publication I do not trust. So, where did they get their information? And is that information, can I contact the source directly and get it verbatim the way they put it to the reporter who wrote their little news story?
If I can get it on Reuters, would you feel better?
Maybe.
Okay.
Anyway, we're going to have to talk about it some other time because we got, like 6 seconds or whatever.
You're tuned in to
See?
Your Choice,
There's
Your
the
Freedom
music.
with Ron
We're gone.
Green,
We'll
the
be
show for
back.
Conservative activist. Your host, Ron Green, will be right back.
We're
Your
back.
Choice, Your Freedom with host Ron Green is back. Which American issue are we fixing today, Ron?
I don't know whether we're going to get anything fixed, but I'll tell you what we are not going to do. We are not going to believe anything the friggin' news media has to tell us unless we investigate it ourselves. Always ask for the source, folks. Anyway, let's talk about the left and how crazy they are. And these quote unquote spontaneous marches that the news media loves to report on and brag about, how the left is so mistreated that they have to protest Trump because he got elected. I'm sorry, but do 63 million people votes not count? What? Because some little whiny crybabies didn't get their person, we have to protest the results of the election?
So do you think the right was being crybabies all during Obama's administration when they were saying he isn't born here, he is a foreign Muslim, he shouldn't be? It's the same
fake
thing.
News.
But
that's fake news. Nobody
you weren't outraged
with an IQ
then.
above 3 believed any of that shit.
Where was your radio show complaining about it then?
You really expect us to believe
Are we
you're
talking about
hogwash?
riots?
Yeah, we're talking about riots.
Which
Then why didn't
riots
we open
against
with that? We
Obama?
started
Which
with
riots
protests.
against Obama? They have back then when they were claiming he
Okay.
wasn't American
What
born. I don't remember
riots
riots.
against Trump?
Oh, I know. Hey.
What right? Yeah, act outraged, but show me.
Ask
Give me some
Berkeley.
evidence.
Ask Berkeley about it. Anyhow. Sorry.
No, you're all right.
Sorry.
It's
Trying
just
to
that
behave.
when both of you start screaming at the same time, I got the left ear going and the right ear going.
My headset on.
So,
I'm sorry.
I love the enthusiasm, and I really do want you guys to get your points out, but it works a lot better if one talks and then the other talks. And I'm bad about talking over people, too.
I apologize.
No, don't apologize. That implies
But,
that you did something wrong. You're just enthused about your position. You have the wrong position, by the way, but I like your enthusiasm.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, and you need to be a little nicer. You catch more flies with honey.
Remember that I am Dominican.
Oh, that's right.
Half of the Texas Rangers come from there.
Which hat?
I'm just bragging.
The good ones?
Yeah, I'm just
Okay.
bragging. Anyhow, this protest, right? People come out and then because they don't like the idea that Trump won. Okay, fine. Here's the problem. We are under a democracy, and it's what happened. And I think anytime you go out to the street to complain about a president, you are not being democratic. You're actually fighting against democracy because you didn't get in office the candidate that you wanted. Now, one of the problems that I see with liberalism, which goes back to socialism, which goes back to Marxism, is that it's an ideology of the people taking over the control of the society through chaos, through war, to getting to the street, to protesting. And it's the exact same thing they did in Cuba, they did in
Okay, well,
Cambodia.
wait. There's nothing wrong with a peaceful protest. Democracies thrive on peaceful protests.
Thank you, Ron.
The problem
Have
occurs.
they been
The problem
peaceful?
The problem occurs when you've got people who go in, like they did in Chicago, or at the Trump rally before Trump got elected, and in L.A. and attack Trump supporters, and I mean physically attack. Now then, he pointed out that we had a women's march here in Fort Worth, and no one was attacked. And I would say the left aren't stupid. They're not going to attack people that carry guns because they know they're going to get their ass shot.
Project
But-
Veritas that exposed how they plan to cause chaos in Trump rallies.
Okay.
Do you think that's fake news?
I'm unfamiliar with Project Veritas.
I am too, and I don't want to comment on something that I'm not absolute, that I haven't researched I'm
Yeah.
big on researching it myself. If I really care about it, I want to know. Okay.
I'd be happy to look it up and then email you
especially
my
if
thoughts on it.
especially if the New York
Terrible.
Times wrote it, the biggest funny paper in the country. You're going to take them. You're going to take their word. No, not hardly. But I want to talk about the way the press treats various presidential administrations. For example, they love Bill Clinton. They love Barack Obama. They loved Hillary. That's mind-boggling, but nevertheless, they loved Hillary. They loved all the Democratic administrations, and they hate on the Republican administrations. Now then, that right there in and of itself demonstrates that they're not really news outlets, they're propaganda outlets. The fact that Obama could do no wrong, and when he did do wrong, that it wasn't reported, and if it was reported, it was way back on the back page or right before, the closing newscast, right when people are changing the channel to catch, I don't know, Real Housewives of New York or L.A., wherever those women live these days. But, that's
Well, I'm going to disagree. I remember plenty of times when the press was critical of Obama. He did not get a glowing reception for the Affordable Care Act. The Republicans and the rights did a very good job of relabeling that Obamacare and making everybody think it was really bad and the worst thing ever. You could actually ask people on the street what they thought about
during
the
that
American
whole
health
process.
care.
What do you
They
think
reported
about
about the town hall meetings. The press did report about those. Okay, the press reported about those, but then they would turn around and talk about how great Obamacare was going to be based on legislation they hadn't even seen yet, because, as Nancy Pelosi said, we got to pass it before we can read it and find out what's in it. So, I mean,
If only we gave the same caution on this recent one.
Obama didn't do half of the stuff he said he was going to do.
No.
He didn't even attempt to do half of the stuff, because the realities of the job and what you think you can do when you're campaigning are two different issues.
I think y'all should remind President Trump of that.
Well,
He's been in office 5 months.
I don't. Here's
Or
what
less.
you don't get about President Trump. Okay, and what the news media definitely doesn't get is he's not a politician. He's a businessman. He doesn't think like a politician.
I get
Which
that
is-
very well.
which
It's
is
very obvious.
Well, that's a good thing.
Well, thank
That's
God.
not a bad thing, because a professional politician only cares about themselves and what's good for the political party they support.
Out
They
of
don't
the
give a
500 some odd
flying
people that
Here's the
represent
thing.
us in
About
the
you.
legislature.
I notice a lot the left talking about how Trump is not doing what he said he was going to do, how Trump lied, how
Okay.
Trump won't be able to do this and that. And I'm sitting here thinking that dude's been in office since January the 20th, and now everybody's talking about his failing presidency. His
Well,
cabinet
because
is not
it is
even
failing.
complete. It's failing.
It's failing.
He's
I
failing.
would say it's.
Yeah.
I
Why
would
he's
say-
failing?
I would say it's
Because
right
he's
on
incompetent,
track.
inept. He hasn't experience for the job. He
What
wasn't
has
cut out for it. He
happened?
doesn't
What
want
has
it.
happened that
Though-
you say is failing?
Okay,
Say something.
where's our border wall? Is it started yet?
Okay,
And,
how-
the, and
how-
wait,
how
wait,
long
the
it
thing
take-
that they showed.
Tell
Actually,
your
the
guys to
border wall
approve.
is started
The
yet.
thing that they
See,
showed-
Tell your guys to
if the
approve
news
it.
media was doing their job, you would know that the border wall was started. Okay,
I
is there
watch-
something
I
else you
watch-
would like to know?
I watch
know
every
damn
White
near
House press
everything.
briefing.
Ask me anything.
Trump
I watch
is failing
every single White House
because
press
the wall
briefing.
is not
I
being
saw the
built.
one where they
Oh my God.
promoted that wall. It was not a wall. It was a fence. And also, Mexico is not paying for it.
Okay,
are
so
they?
Trump presidency
They're
is
going to
failing
pay for it
because of
when
the
they
wall?
rework the NAFTA agreement. You bet your.
So you
bottom-
think he's going to actually be able to rework NAFTA?
Let me tell you
Oh,
something.
yeah.
Look,
Okay.
You
Hey,
try
hey.
to build a restaurant here in Fort Worth. It'll take you 6 months to get the project through the city.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
want a border wall to get started just like that.
I'm not saying it has
Okay,
to be
hold on,
finished
hold on.
right now,
okay,
but there's
hold on.
no
we're getting,
progress.
We're
He said
getting
this is
way
the thing
off
that he was going
topic
to do.
again. Okay, the border wall has nothing to do with the news media. The only thing the border wall would have to do with the news media is are they reporting it, and if they are reporting it, are they reporting it accurately?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Ron. She asked me
No,
what it
no, it's
but-
not. It's all of us. But the thing, and I don't mind getting off a little bit, but when we start going down a path that's going to lead us totally off the topic, then we got to change. So my thing about the news media, the mainstream news media, and I'm talking NBC, CBS, ABC, and
Fox.
Fox.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the mainstream. Okay, my thing about them is that if they like the president, he gets glowing coverage. If they don't like the president, every single little accusation that's made is presented as fact. And see, this is the real danger of the news media, is not that they're not telling us the truth. It's the fact that they're presenting falsehoods as fact when in actuality they don't have any real evidence to base that on. It's like that news article that you referred to earlier. My first question is, what's the source?
Which you admittedly have not read.
Which I admittedly have not read.
Okay.
But I don't read anything the New York Times puts out.
Well, I found it on Reuters as well.
Well, now, if I read it on Reuters, I would still want to know who was. If I can't verify the source, I discount it.
Well,
Okay.
Absolutely, and you have that right, and that's an important thing to do.
Because
and everyone should
because
do that.
we have to live and we have to navigate in our daily lives all of this propaganda. You don't want to be making decisions on who to vote for based on an article in the New York Times or even a broadcast on Fox News.
So, what do you want to base your decision on? Just your gut feeling? Like you have to have an.
Hey, you want to know why I
news
voted
media.
for Trump? I'll tell you flat out. Number one, he's not a professional politician. Number two, he's not. I forgot what I was going to say.
Do you pick your doctor
He's
the
not
same way? Do you pick
I
the
don't
guy
go
that
to
works
the
on your
doctor. Why
roof
do
the
you
same
think I'm
way?
so healthy? I
The
haven't
guy that
been to the
re-roofs
doctor
your
in
house.
20 years.
Your mechanic. Do you pick all these people the same way? Well, they've never done it
No,
before.
I
but-
get references from people I know that I can trust. And then I take my vehicle in there and I get it repaired. And if the repair is good and the price was fair, we have a deal. Hey, you know what? And
Don't
I'm not-
touch that dial.
Yeah,
You don't
don't
wanna
touch
miss
that
what we have
dial
coming up.
because we're coming
Your
back
choice,
any
Your
minute.
freedom, with Ron Green.
Segment over
And
here?
we're back. This is Your Choice,
Okay.
Your Freedom with your host, Ron Green. Finding solutions for America's problems.
Can I read my letter to Bloomberg Business Week?
In case you hadn't figured it out yet, this is the Ron Green Show, and we're talking about fake news most of the time. Anyway, Anna would like to read something. I'm going to give her an opportunity to read that in this segment.
Yes, please.
As long as it's short and sweet. Okay?
Yes, it's short and really sweet.
Okay.
This is a letter that I wrote to Bloomberg's Business Week because I'm an entrepreneur and I try to get as much good information as I can. But since the election started, these guys went, down spiral. Well, anyhow, I sent them this letter, which they haven't answered yet. And it says, since I subscribe to the magazine, I have to put up with all of your biased liberal rants against Donald Trump. I buy the magazine to get business information, not to get convinced that Trump is evil. And let me tell you this. If your anti-Trump propaganda didn't help the Democratic Party win this election, it certainly won't help them win next. So get over it and get back to business, because when your customers' numbers starts nosediving, do not blame the economy. Blame the radical left editors. Every opening remark since I can remember is a rant against Trump, and 60% of the magazine is now useless because of the editor's liberal meltdown. Now, I don't trust any of your articles, because if all of your business information is as biased as your political views, this magazine has become a non-trustworthy source for entrepreneurs. Clean your agenda before it's too late. With love, Anna.
That didn't sound very loving to me, Anna. I think you should rewrite that.
Because
That sounded. You sound like. I don't think they believe that love part. They probably believe the other part. Okay.
No,
All right.
the opposite.
Okay. In this segment, we're going to talk about the fact that the mainstream news media really has their panties and shorts in a wad. Not over the fact that fake news is getting out there, but that they're no longer the sole source of fake news, that anybody with a laptop can now generate a news story.
Well, I think that's one of the most dangerous things about Trump going to the public, especially on Twitter, and
I
saying
love
things
that.
like fake news, you can't believe it. It delegitimizes all news and puts everything on the exact same level.
Excellent.
Not
Excellent.
the
Because
veracity
if-
of all claims are not equal, though.
Because if everybody knows that what they're reading is 99% BS, then maybe they will actually take the time to do a little research on the topic themselves.
But with respect, sir, that's just your opinion.
That
And
is
if
my
you're and
opinion.
if you try and bring
No, actually,
everything
that's
down,
breaking news.
everything
think-
that comes down to it, if everybody has the same level of credibility, whether it's deserved or undeserved, the public as a whole suffers. We learn less. We're a less informed electorate.
So you think
Everything you want to know is in your pocket.
Uh-huh.
Everything
So you
you
think
want to
Trump
know.
shouldn't
If
be allowed to
you really
tweet these
want to
kind of
know, you
things?
can find out.
But do you really want to know, or do you just want to have the idea you already had
I
confirmed?
really want to know.
Okay, that's great.
I really want to know.
That's important.
See, because like she referred to the Holocaust, like I referred to Wounded Knee, the news media preys and politicians prey on emotions. They don't deal in facts. Facts are boring. But we have to live in the real world. We have to live with the consequences of these news stories. We have to live with these consequences. Laws are passed, whether they're good laws or bad laws, it doesn't matter. Laws are passed based on propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
Laws are passed based on propaganda. They're passed, like the Democrats like to say, never let a disaster go to waste. They
Never
know.
heard a Democrat say that.
Oh, yeah. Bill Clinton, the guy that got you into it, he's the one that coined it.
Okay, I'll believe you on that.
No,
But,
he did. They
I
caught-
in my
they
experience in
caught
our
him on a-
secret
they
Democratic
caught-
evil
they-
meetings, no one's ever said that.
I've
Like,
never said they were evil. I just said they were Democrats.
Yeah,
I mean, they have a political agenda, and I recognize that.
I was just having a
The
little fun. But
right. The Republicans have a political agenda, and I recognize that. And I know the news media has an agenda. It's not always political. Sometimes it's social. But the news media definitely has an agenda because the people working in the news media have an agenda. You cannot separate people from the process. And that's the reason why, if you really want to know the truth, if Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water and Jack didn't take a pail, and the news media goes, Jack didn't take a pail, what do you think they were doing up there on that hill? Or if they were supposed to be going after water, why didn't they take a pail? All right, well, the news media has already instilled in the idea that they didn't really go up there to get water. They went up there to do something nefarious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Why-
maybe there was a pail already up there, and all they had to do was fill it up and bring it down.
But
See?
why were we following Jack and Jill in the first place?
Well, because the news media was fixated on. Maybe they were Trump supporters. Maybe they had a Vote Trump T-shirt on. I don't know. The point is, it was just an example. This is the way
Yeah.
the news media takes us down the yellow brick road.
But the point I'm trying to make is maybe the media is picking apart every little thing that Trump does, but they're doing that because he's opened the door wide open for them to do that.
And I
he has
fully
not
I
left
fully
him
ex- I fully
protected
ex-
himself at all from
I
this type
fully
of thing.
expected Trump to do that because he's not a professional politician. He's not trying to cover his ass and protect himself from the news media because he doesn't care about the news media. He has capitalized on Twitter and the social network, and in the future, presidents are going to be elected based on that more than they are the news media, which is why the news media is screaming and crying and raising bloody hell right now, is because they're irrelevant.
No, they're screaming and crying and raising bloody hell.
Overeducated buffoons, and the public see them that
I
way.
remember
What's
they're
wrong with
screaming and crying on November
There's
8th.
nothing wrong with an education. It's when you think that you're superior because of the education, and that the only knowledge or the only news worthy of being reported is the knowledge in the news that they deem is worthy of being reported. Us poor simpletons couldn't possibly understand the complex world in which we live today. Bless our hearts, it's a wonder we can put on our own shoes.
But I don't think I think that is a conservative talking point or a tactic
hogwash.
of going.
That's the way
Well,
they
because-
treat us. They treat, and both political parties treat us that way. The news media treats us that way. They treat us like we're all a bunch of frigging idiots. Like we haven't got the intelligence to figure out things on our own. They've got to spoon feed it to us and point us in a specific direction. The directions that benefits them, whether it benefits you or not.
I believe, yes, there are some people and some organizations but to do this as a whole, there are good people out there that are doing good, honest reporting.
The Democratic and Republican parties exist for the sole purpose of promoting the Democratic and Republican parties, period.
I can
And
give you that.
the mainstream news media is a propaganda arm in which the Democratic Party gets their message out.
So they use Fox to get their message out.
No.
But we've agreed Fox is part of the mainstream.
No, we haven't agreed.
You
We
said
agreed
because-
that was cable news.
No,
We-
earlier when we did ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox.
Fox, Channel Fox 4, Channel 4.
I'm talking
Not-
about
not
Fox
ch-
4.
Well, yeah, Fox 4. Yeah, probably.
They probably.
Yeah, they probably. But
Why is that a bad thing, though? Let them say what they want. What happened to freedom of speech?
Okay, we can have
Well-
freedom of speech. We just can't have. Well, we're going to have. We need to open our eyes to the reality that news stories are in fact stories, and very little of it is based on anything substantial. We are rushing to judgment on things based on accusations, whether true or false, way before the verdict is in. Way before the verdict is in. Okay, right now the left has Trump convicted of conspiracy with the Russians on this election stuff, on this supposed interference. But I will say this: even let's say, for the sake of argument, that Russia called up a Trump member of the Trump campaign and said, "Hey, we cracked into the Democratic Party and we have all these emails, and we we hacked into Hillary Clinton's campaign manager's emails, and we have all these emails. When would you like us to release those?" Okay, that's campaign strategy. That's not interference.
No, at that point, they had an obligation to their country over their party.
Oh, no. Oh no, that's campaign strategy, buddy. If they had no part in the hacking part, everything after that is perfectly legal. That's perfectly campaign strategy.
But the fact that they knew about it.
Don't think for a minute, if the shoe had been on the other foot, the Democrats wouldn't have been all over that.
But the point,
Even if that were true, that still doesn't make it right.
There's no crime. And the fact is even though the news media dragged their feet on it and tried very hard not to report it, nobody ever came out and said that what was in those emails were not true.
Oh, I didn't
Okay.
like the content of those emails.
Okay,
either, because
that
if
shows
I'm
you-
remembering correctly, the content of those emails showed.
I wish that we had more time to discuss this topic, but we're quickly running out of time. I would like to thank Andrew for joining us,
Thank
I
you.
would like to thank Anna for joining us. It was a great show. I greatly enjoyed y'all's enthusiasm. If you would like the name of a good behavioral scientist or somebody to help you work through these problems you're having with this liberalism, I'd be happy to recommend someone. Get with me after the show.
Will it be
my
covered
pleasure.
under Trump's health care?
Probably not.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
That's a wrap.
We should.
Thank you for tuning in
Wouldn't
to
be
Your
a bad
Choice and
idea,
Your
though.
Freedom with Ron Green.
No, I'm kidding.
We'd love to hear
Thank
from
you.
you. Join the movement
Right,
and
yeah.
voice your concerns
Thank
at
you, Miss Anna.
yourchoiceyourfreedom.com.
Thank you
See you next time.
I think so.